Hi everybody, Russell Mimers 11. Hope you're safe and well. New channel, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell icon to be made aware anytime I put new content on. As always, we'd like to thank our channel sponsors, Untuck It. Check them out in the description below. Today's guest, looking forward to this. Looking forward to today. It's Ell Jarvis. How you doing, mate? You all right?
Good, mate. I'm really good, thanks. How you doing?
I'm all right. I'm all right. As we said just before we started, probably best as well as it could be imagined in these weird times we live in at the moment, isn't it? So, just got to grin and bear.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, absolute pleasure, man. Absolute. How are you? How have you been in this crazy world we live in at the moment?
Yeah, all right. Just grin and bear it, and keeping a sense of humour about everything, and just try and be onwards and upwards, and that's about it, really. So we can do. So, yeah, not stress it anyway.
So the last thing you need to do is be stressed out of everything else that's going on in the world, isn't it? To be honest, so
yeah, definitely.
But West Ham aren't stressed us out at the moment, though, are they?
No, you would have thought. Typical West Ham during the pandemic, we'd be bottom of the league with no points, but it's a little bright spot at the moment. So long may that continue. Hopefully.
It's the one thing we don't have to worry about, isn't it, at the moment, which is quite nice for the time being.
Isn't it?
It does make a change.
When there's not a pandemic, it's the other way around.
When there's 60,000 people in the London Stadium baying for blood, now there's no bugger there.
You can make it up,
nah. Well, I'm convinced. I'm convinced we're going to do something in the FA Cup this year, just because there's no fans will probably be there. So it's just typical West Ham.
I said at the beginning of the season, like to my dad and like my brothers and my mate, like it'll be typical, wouldn't it? All this time, all these years, and we'll go and win it, and we won't be able to go there. But I mean, obviously still love us to win it, but how typical would that be? You know, it would be West Ham, wouldn't it?
It's the West Ham way, isn't it? It's the West Ham way, you know. That's what we do, man. But yeah, no, it is good. It is good, and it's one of those things. But there's still that sort of West Ham in everyone. So obviously, when we beat Everton the other day, it was really great, brilliant. We beat Everton, we're 10th, not bad. Going into all good over Christmas. Then the next breath, 16 points to go. It's not the fact that we're doing. It's not a tip. We're pushing for Europe or whatever, or we're doing well. 14 points to go. We just got to get those 40 points first, then we can relax.
It's like built into us, isn't it, to be like that?
Yeah. Well, it is. It's like we know it's coming, though. We know that we know it's going to come. We know there's going to be that road bump, that speed bump in the road, whether it's losing 3-0 to West Brom next time Big Sam comes down. We know it's happening. We know it's going to happen. And then we prepare ourselves for it.
Yeah, I know. It's mad, isn't it? I just said, literally, I don't know if it's gone through yet, but as we started this, it said Snodgrass is apparently going there, isn't it? It said
West Brom, no. That's what it seems like. Yeah. It's not confirmed yet. This will probably this is going to go out in a couple of days' time. So probably if he has gone, he's gone. If he hasn't gone, he hasn't gone. So yeah, but no, he is. Someone on Twitter, I saw someone put on like a little tribute video to Snods and tagged him in it, and he went, "Oh, that's the last thing I need at the moment." Yeah, so he's obviously it must be hard whatever happens. But I mean, he's not getting much game time of us at the moment, is he? And so it'd be a shame because he's a great guy around the pitch.
Exactly yeah. In the change room as well, isn't he? Obviously, just definitely good to have about. He's not getting the minutes, but our squad's so a bit thin in it. So I don't know, we should let him at the moment.
But I mean, if it means that that maybe one of the youngsters, one of the young in the academy can go up into the squad now, and there's more, so something like Connor Coventry or something like that, then is it a bad thing long term? Probably not. It's not. It's a horrible thing, but he's a bit old. He's getting a bit old, Snods, and he bless him. He's not really a right winger.
But like you said, especially like the name you mentioned, Coventry, it's be perfect for him to hopefully come in and push on, because we all want to see it. Then we come through the ranks like that.
What you do,
and no reason why it shouldn't. Hopefully, he seems talented enough. And
particularly the cup game.
West Ham, then we'd see someone come through the ranks.
We do. We loved seeing the boys coming through the ranks. In the same way, the next breath, we like to see exciting signings and things like that. But we want to see the academy coming through. We want both. We want everything. That's the trouble, mate, isn't it?
No, we do.
Yeah. But I mean, with Connor,
which is funny, actually.
Yeah.
No, sorry, go on.
I was going to say with the cup game coming up next week, hopefully I'd like to see a few of them played. A few of the youngsters, because they did a good showing in like when we played in the Carabao Cup, and all like Alessi and people like that. They played all right. So
100%. Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Right. Well, you said about like we want to see like the youth and the excitement. Well, that's the thing. When I've been watching like some of the previous videos and seeing like all the teams people are picking, and like a lot of it's from like the late 90s, and that's when we had that mix, and it's just like it's good to see. Like, did you know what I mean? People like I watched the ones I've seen loads, but the Razor one was the one that really like when I watched your one with Razor, and then for some reason the goalkeeper ones are the ones I really liked, like Seeley, Bywater, and Ian Fjord. For some reason, and the goalkeeper one's been really interesting, like because their perspective, and all the just like we said about the mix of youth and like international skillful players, and it's just like been really good to see other people's memories basically, and in a little way as well, without being over the top. I think that your channel and other things like Long Live the Bowling, Hammers United, and West Ham Fans Direct Action Group, everyone doing their bit to preserve the history, which the owners aren't. So,
well, I mean,
it's great to see.
It's a trouble with football, isn't it? I think it's not just the West Ham thing. And I think it is like a general sort of thing in football. It's things like the small grounds and stuff like that. They're coming less and less now, aren't they? And football is changed. It has changed, and it's not just a West Ham thing. It's it's across the board. I mean, look, the Gunners moving out of Highbury, and even Spurs. I know Spurs like staying in the same stadium, but it's not. It wasn't what the old White Hart Lane. It's the new White Hart Lane. You know what I mean? So it gives us like that chance to sort of look back at things and sort of be nostalgic. And I think that's important because you don't know where you've been. You don't know where you can go unless you've looked back. It sounds a really bit wanky, but do you know what I mean?
True. It's foundation, isn't it? The foundation.
Yeah. It is, but it seems, and that's why, that's why it's a little bit going back full circle now. With Moisey there, he seems to be instilling an old school mentality of West Ham. We don't care if you're not good enough, if you're not skillful enough. It's not your fault you put in a West Ham shirt. That someone's bought you. You know what I mean? But as long as you put in 100% in it, and people like Souček and Kufau and Deck and. They all put it in now. They all put a shift in. They might not have put it in 18 months ago, 2 years ago, but now they do. And it's a bit like the old West Ham again. Do you know what I mean? In terms of that sort of everyone pulling together.
As well, because of it, I think. Like, as a byproduct. And like the players you mentioned, like everyone seems to fight and they've got engines and they want to like fight for each other and for the badge, which I can't remember last time we had a whole squad all pulling in the same direction, like for the badge. Everyone seems like there's not that many dickheads, or I don't think there's any dickheads in the squad. And usually there's always one or two. But at the moment, it's like it could be onto something we can hopefully build on. Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, when Moisey says he wants to build, he wants to build like another Everton legacy. I'm all for that because I think we need that. That's what we need. About 5 years out of date. We should have done that about 5 years ago, to be honest. But it doesn't matter. We're doing it now, exactly, and do it with no fans in the stadium.
That's about right.
Yeah, no, it's about right. But I mean, I think it's I've said it before on the channel. When players move clubs and they go, oh yeah, I've moved. I'm coming here for the project and not the 150 grand they're paying me, but the project that the manager told me. This is a project. This seems like a project. You know what I mean? And even like the backroom staff, even getting like Piercy and Kev, and they've got proper football men there. And I just think it's going a little bit back old school style. Do you know what I mean? Sort of like rolling your sleeves up.
Everyone seems to know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Before there's been people like things happening. You're like, what's he doing there? Or what's going on there? Yeah. And but now it seems to be organised, which I can't remember last time we had the organisation like properly, really, from like top to bottom. But I know people still moan about the training ground a lot, saying it's like undeveloped. And I know it is, but my argument to that is they're so pampered Like, they don't need, like, just have a bit of a rough training ground. Do you know what I mean? Don't be too pampered.
I mean, they spent years at Chadwell Heath. Chadwell Heath wasn't. I wouldn't say Chadwell Heath was particularly plush in terms of that as a training ground. So so you had the bloody train going past every 5 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
So do you know what I mean? So,
they got money there, right?
Yeah, having like a hotel or whatever, like Tottenham have got. Like, why do you want a hotel? What's it just? Oh.
It's a bit too soft for my liking. Like, I do sound like so old saying this, but football is like what you said about it changing so much. It's almost like, and I hate to say it, but it's like it's not the sport that I fell in love with anymore.
No, I mean, no, yeah.
And the more I do remove from it, the more I think like disattached we as fans become, which I don't want. And like you said, where Moyes is instilling some old school mentality, can only be a good thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because I don't want it to change where it's unrecognisable. I'd always watch football, of course, and I'd always love West Ham, but it's not the same as it was. But I don't want it to, that gap to. I'd rather go back than further apart. But who am I to change that? But wish.
No, I know what you mean. And I think that's right. And I think, and it has changed. The game is now. And as you said, we have people like Razor on, we have people like, Bish and Monks and all these guys. They were the era. They were like the last. No, yeah, they're probably like, well, Bish was, Monks were a bit before Ruddock, but that was the last era that that was the old West Ham to me. Do you know what I mean? Because it was. Characters, stories. But that's the modern day footballer now. They're like modern day footballers are athletes now, aren't they? No disrespect to Bish and Monks, but they are tuned athletes now. And so, and with social media, with everything, they can't go out and go on the lash like they used to. I mean, look at it. I mean, obviously, you got the backlash with Lanzini and Mendy with all the parties they had over Christmas. That's
people Lanzini's worst crime was knocking about the Spurs players, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the worst thing about it.
But I felt sorry. I felt sorry. That will teach him. That will teach him for mixing with them lot. But I felt sorry for Mourinho. I really did, because he went and bought Reguilon a pig, didn't he? He bought him a Portuguese piglet because he bought him a piglet for Christmas and went over to present it to him, because he said that he found out that he was going to be spending Christmas on his own, so he went and bought him this pig. And apparently in Portugal it's it's one of those sort of massive, like those Parma ham things type thing, those massive ones. And he bought him one of them. They're fucking expensive things. And he there's a picture of him in Reguilon's kitchen, and then he goes and does a quick step to the party with all the Argentinian guys.
Marina's get my money back for that. Yeah,
exactly. They don't come cheap. Those things don't come cheap. But it's one of those things where I think, and that's why I love doing these shows, because it gives you a chance to think back and talk to people who are around, when you were watching the football or before my time, or and you go, yeah, it was fun then, wasn't it? It was fun, and the boys doing good now, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's great looking back. It's like, well, obviously, like when we had Razor on and stuff. Yeah, it's like, some of the stories he told, and even yesterday we put, even today we put Neil Mellor's. We had Neil Mellor on, and he was like, he's only there for 20 odd games, bless him. But he told some stories and how we joke about our team and stuff, and how the setup and things like that. When he signed for us, they picked him up at the service station on the way to the game almost. And it's like that was 2003. That wasn't that long ago. No, when he said it's like, and Glenn Roeder phoned me up and said, actually, Neil, we're playing Preston, so that's closer to Liverpool than it is to London, so there's no point coming back and then going up. We'll pick you up on the way. So he's like, with his kit bag, literally being picked up at a service station.
That's like Sunday League stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, can you get your mate? Yeah. We've got a couple. We need a couple of ringers. Can your mate turn up today? Oh, he's still hungover. Oh, okay, we'll drag him out of bed. And it's a proper Sunday league, but no, it's all fun. But it's part of West Ham. It's like if anything goes normal with West Ham, like anything goes well, it's just not West Ham. We're a spit and sawdust club, aren't we?
Definitely.
So it's
which
like,
we love, really.
we do, and we moan about not winning anything, and we moan about this and moan about that. I think if we ended up winning stuff, I think we'd, people's question, our identity as a club and things like that. If we started winning things like Man City, we wouldn't be West Ham at all, because we'd be, we wouldn't know what to do with ourselves.
It's funny you say that, because like I say it to everyone that will listen, and it sounds like, why would you say that? Like, but honestly, I'd rather, like at the moment, honest to God, I'd rather win the FA Cup than the league. Because I just love it for us to go to Wembley and have that day. I'm not saying I wouldn't like to win the league, but it still gets a bit too, like, I don't know. It's to be so much money involved and pumped in, like you said. The identity could just be completely gone. And I don't know. It was what is a football team without its identity? I sound like an old, like, probably dinosaur saying that. But you know what I mean? Like, it's nothing.
No, you're right. There's something inherent about West Ham fans. There's something inherent about us, which is why people have a bit of a soft spot for us. And despite the fact they still have a soft spot for West Ham, because we're this, and doing this channel has epitomised it for me. I'm interviewing people I'm trying to interview people in Australia and Canada and Hong Kong and India and all over this place, and they all support this funny little club in East London that's won bugger all in 40 years. And it's like, why? But it's because of the fans. It's because of the story. It's because of the sort of the working class, and that's what we are. And we'll always have that. We'll always have that as an identity. Doesn't matter where you play or whatever kit you wear, whatever. West Ham fans, and that's why I think.
Can't remember that history. Yeah, that history can't.
No one can, and there's no reason to do that, because that's what makes us West Ham fans. And it's obviously we're at London Stadium now, we're not Upton Park and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, it's the fans, and if it means we get more 60,000 of us there, and we get 60,000 of us singing Bubbles, fair enough. And with everything that's gone on in this world at the moment, the sooner we get 60,000 fans back together at Upton Park, I almost said that Freudian slip, London Stadium. Will be an incredible moment. An incredible moment.
Yeah, of course it will. It puts things into perspective, doesn't it?
Oh, totally.
Obviously, I don't really like the new place, and I much prefer Upton Park. Obviously,
yeah, fair enough.
We're there, and I'm going to support the club on the pitch anyway. So like you said, you've got to be onwards and upwards. I hope to be anyway. So,
onwards and upwards.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Don't rain, don't we? So, like, hold it back, like, can't get too carried away. But
we can't, and I think actually it should be baby steps of us now as a club. It should be. I think if we're realistically, we should be a top 10 club every season, based on fan base and based on the squad. I mean, the team we got, the first 11, easily top 10 team. I think if we finish 8th this season, 8th or 7th, that'd be a bloody good year for us, and a decent cup run. And we shouldn't be down the bottom. We shouldn't be down the bottom. We're not a West Brom. We're not Billy Big Bollocks at all. But we're not like a Fulham. We're not a Sheffield United. We're West Ham, and we're an established Premier League club now. And hopefully with Moisey, and we're getting the right people in, and the right the backroom staff, and Moyes has said he wants to build a infrastructure, and that's what you need. You need an infrastructure. You've seen teams spend a crap load of money. Exactly. You've seen like teams like Blackburn. Blackburn spent a shitload of money with old Jack, and won the league. And now what they do? Now they're just floundering in the Championship.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? It's like teams like Sheffield Wednesday and obviously Leeds recently, they're almost fallen into like nothing. We can never be like that. Do you know what I mean?
No. But then you look at someone like Man City. So Man City were in League One, weren't they? Really, for a period of time.
Were they?
Yeah, so they were just doing nothing, and then you either get the injection of, but then if you haven't got, like, you could build a beautiful apartment, but if the foundations of that building are shit, then it's going to crumble, and it will crumble, because at the end of the day, what it takes is them the owners the Man City owners to say, right, see you later, take their money and run, and that's it. Well, okay, well, what do we do now? Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll get off our high horse. Let's stop talking about that. Let's talk about something. So, right. The first question he says, almost 20 minutes into the interview, is no, that's after fun. There's no, like, it's two blokes talking in a pub, but obviously we're not in a pub. We're doing it on Zoom or whatever it is. But apart from that, first question is, why are you a West Ham fan now? What's your story, man?
Well, as far as I know, I'm fourth generation. I mean, there could be more, but I know that I'm definitely fourth generation. My dad's side, or West Ham. My great granddad was actually at the World Cup final, and
Brilliant.
my dad's first game he ever went to was Bobby Moore's debut. And when you get told things like that when you're a kid, it's like mythical. And you know, like when you're a kid, but you grow up and you think like, oh, Santa's not real. But with these things, as I get older, I'm like more and more like I want to know more about it.
Yeah.
And so basically, he's born into it for all my sins. And all my dad's sides are West Ham, and no choice in the matter.
No choice.
Thankful.
I know that's the thing, isn't it? And then, I mean, do you remember your first game?
Do you know what? I was trying to think, and it was definitely 1989. It was at Upton Park, and for the life of me, I can't remember the game. Like it was like Hull or someone like that. But I wish I could remember because I've got so many. My parents got so much like programs in the loft, and I'm sure it's probably up there. God knows what else. But I'd love to find it. But it's definitely 89. That's all I can remember. 89, just me and my dad, and I remember like buying like hat and scarf and things like that. And you know, the first time you see that green and you go up the steps, I still get that feeling now. Not so much on the stadium, but when you see that green, it's just there's nothing like it. People say it's a good game, but it's not, is it?
It's not life, really. And to be honest, I mean, you know, there's a few people we interview where they tell us, oh yeah, we played and we scored this and he scored and da. But for a lot of people, they go, well, it was just, I don't remember much of the game. I remember just the excitement. I remember the crowd, and I remember going out, and as soon as I got home, I wanted to go to the next game, and the smells and and you know, that's what it is. You get a better view of watching football now than you do if you was at London Stadium. You just would do on the telly, but it's not about that. It's about going to the pub. It's about chatting to the mate. I mean, you know, God forbid when we all go back. Well, I mean, obviously, I'm still there, but you know, for the home games. But when all the fans get back, you know, there'd be people there that you wouldn't have seen. You know, for like people who are season ticket holders and stuff like that, they might not come back because they might have passed. Unfortunately, it's horrible to think of that, but it's going to be a weird. It's going to be weird. But I mean, but you know, that's no, but it is. It's true. I think it was Riot, West Ham Fan TV, said it when we were chatting the other day about it. And but it's horrible, isn't it? When you think about that, and we don't mean to be horrible with this job. But it's true, though, isn't it? You know, there was a lot of old boys who were West Ham fans, but that's what it's about. It's not about the game. It's about going to the boats or the supporters clubs or whatever beforehand, or going to the Black Lion and walking. 100%. But you know, it's all that which I think people have missed, and I think people will appreciate a lot more when we can get back.
Like, you know, you can like connect things in your life that are happening at the time, and you can remember what games you were at, and like, whether it's good times or bad times. Obviously, like you said, the view is much better at home and stuff. But as you also said, like the social side of it, I don't think people realised how big. Well, some people do, but some people don't realise how important it is to people. You know,
definitely. Definitely. We've had some really, like, I think we've had over like 250 episodes, and there's some guys who, it's incredible, their story. You know, like, you know, you sit there and you're like, fucking hell. You know, they're just sort of when they're talking about, you know, how much West Ham means to them, from, you know, you know, we've had people like a guy called Peter Singh who was like, his mental well-being. You know, he didn't know his dad, and West Ham was like his father figure, really. Like, he saw Trevor Brooklyn as his dad. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, it's like, I never had that sort of level of allegiance to, although all my family were, you know, it's just like really how much it means to some people, and it takes you by surprise. There was a guy we interviewed, one of the Bayham Hammers, Apu, and basically he was like carted around. His family like lived all the way around East London, so he never really sort of stayed in a school for long enough, but he supported West Ham. So basically within 5 minutes there was another West Ham fan there, so that's what joined, you know. So it's like, it's not just the club, it's honestly, it's a weird and we're this funny little club makes such an impact on people's lives.
Like you said before, it reaches like far corners of the world as well.
Yeah,
you know, like, and like we've not won anything for like 40 years, like major cup, but we still got that. And it proves that. It just goes to show, you know, like all teams say, "Oh, we've got the best fans," and this, but it just goes to show how good like the supporters and the loyalty and the fan base and the friendships and the community of West Ham is. You know, with or without the like, obviously there's division about the board and whatnot, but not even respective of that. I mean, just the people. Do you know what I mean? That pay to go in football.
Totally. It's one of those things where I think people will. People have got a new perspective of it since everything that's happened in the last sort of, you know, almost a year now, isn't it? Really, it's so it's put things into perspective, and that's why, you know, I think that's why it's important to talk to people about West Ham and stuff, but not just on like a, you know, like for some people it is on a sort of a very basic level, but some people it is really deep, and actually, you know, we are getting particularly deep for an episode, but you know, it's about sort of reaching out.
Shut me up.
Yeah, but why not? You know, it's like and that's the great thing. We can, and I think, and you know, it's funny how this, as again, this silly little club in East London draws people together. I mean, we've never met really, apart from, you know, a few iterations on Instagram, really. But that's it. But we can sit here and talk for, you know, what is it, 30, 40 minutes already, and no problem at all. Do you know what I mean? It's mental when you think about it.
It's true. I say to my pals, like, and you probably have the similar experiences. If ever I'm like out of town or even out of the country, and I've got West Ham colours on, and if I see someone else who's like West Ham or even if it's just claret and blue, and we just know, we just say hello up the Hammers and chat. Like, I spend half my life talking to West Ham fans, and like, I don't see other fans do it. You know, like, it's funny,
No, I don't see it. I mean, even like, you know, I think it's one of those things where, as I said, I think just being like a West Ham fan, you know, I said we're a funny little bunch of fans, and not little, loads of us were there. But you're right, we walk down the road and we'll see someone in a West Ham shirt, and it might be, I mean, I live in Hornchurch, so there's bloody loads of us here, but you know, come on, Wines, you know, it's like like a few months ago, I went to drop my car off at the garage to get its MOT'd. I ended up talking to the bloody the mechanic for about an hour about West Ham, because I had my West Ham shirt on. I drove back to my house, got out of the car, and this bloke, old bloke, you know, without breaking his stride, without even looking at me, I opened the door and he went, "Still ain't signed no one, have we?" And carries on walking. Didn't even break a stride. I know, it's so West Ham, but it's true. My wife hates it because literally, me and my daughter, we travel in colours when we go on holiday. We always get stopped at the, you know, the baggage things, because people are like talking like, with the baggage guys. Oh, West Ham. If they're not West Ham, they still come over and talk to us. It might be Liverpool fans or on holiday, or the bar staff might be Chelsea fans, but they still communicate. And you're right. I don't see anyone like Tottenham fans doing that. Do you know what I mean?
Right. I'll tell you a quick story. I won't show you ear off. Like, talk all the time. I went to a Miami Dolphins game like last year, like year before now, before lockdown anyway, out in Miami. I had like West Ham top on, and there's like loads of people were saying, like Americans were like, "Oh, West Ham, blah blah blah," and everyone was like, just so many people making comments, like, and I was like, I used to expect them to all like the top 6 teams, but there's all like talking, and in the distance I saw a blue shirt, right, and I thought, I can't believe there's a Chelsea shirt here. That's gonna, like, I'm in a good mood here. It got closer and closer and closer. It weren't Chelsea, it was Millwall, right? And I don't remember ever seeing a Millwall shirt like in flesh. And this is like 3 barricades between us, and we got like right close to each other, and we just like had the most unfriendly experience. Like, we said we sort of like nodded at each other without smiling. It was the most unfriendly. And I thought, oh, like, of all things to see, coming to get away from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's brilliant. No, when I went, I think it was last year? Might have been the year after. I spent a lot of time in the States and did a lot of. Every time I go over, obviously, I try and get some sport because I'm on my Todd anyway, so you know, nothing to do. And yeah, I went to the New York. I went to see the Red Bulls, the MLS, and I turned up on West Ham shirt, and you know, me. mean, obviously, when I'm going to London Stadium or when I went to Hartston Park, I'd be there 4 hours before kickoff because we'll be doing the setup and checking all the speakers, make sure all the music works. So I still turned up 4 hours before. So the kickoff was like 2. I was there about 11, and there was no one there. And I was literally walking around, and some bloke came up to me. He's like an official bloke. He said, "You all right, sir?" And I just sort of yeah. And then I blagged it and said, "Oh yeah, I'm doing I work at West Ham," and I showed him the pictures because I do. But I said, and I'm doing like a little, sort of going around all the stadiums and seeing what. He goes, "Oh, West Ham, we love West Ham. Come through." And he's like walking. He gave me a free hat, a free scarf. We're walking around. He's showing me all around the back, and it's only because I wore a West Ham shirt. He came over and chatted to me. But
That's cool.
It's all fun. I love it, man. I love it. I always love it. And when we're on holiday, if there's a West Ham fan within like 10 meters, I can sniff him out.
Oh, and
so. Yeah. Right. Okay. So let's talk about your Hammers 11. So obviously, everyone we get on the channel gives their Hammers 11. There's only 3 people who haven't given 11: Harry Redknapp, Ian Bishop, and Nigel Reo-Coker. They're the only 3 people who didn't. Fair enough. Everyone else did. And so the idea is, the only rule is you have to be alive to see them play. All the other, you can pick whoever you want. Worst, best, favourite, cult heroes, whatever, man. But you have to be alive to see them play, which is fair enough, I think. Otherwise, you'd all put Bobby Moore in the team, and we didn't see Bobby Moore, so it's only fair. Unfortunately, we weren't gracious enough to see him, and we weren't around at that time. No. And so all right, okay. So let's start off in goal. Who's going to be in goal for the Jarvis 11?
Well, before I go, I'll just say, because I started off, my team was going to be. I'm talking again. But it was going to be all like hard nut psychos. That's how it started. But it sort of developed to be, it's still that, and they're not allowed to shirk a challenge, otherwise they're not allowed to play. It's still that, but also it's got to be like characters, like proper characters. Like, say when West Ham go to an away game, and all the home fans hate that player. I think it's 11 that are like the
bastards. 11.
So the characters, the bastards, and the nutters, and But so in goal, I thought about it. And he didn't really play much. We didn't play hard. I think played 2 times on pit, 2 times and once up front. But it had to be Les Sealey, just the biggest character. Had to be Les Sealey. I went for everyone. There's some great goalkeepers. I'm even old enough where I actually did see Phil Parkes play, but I'm going on just characters here. Just like, not saying that Phil Parkes wasn't one, because he was, but Les Sealey, he's going in goal for this team.
And you said, obviously we had Joe on a couple of weeks ago, and fucking funny. Like, honestly, his dad was it's such a. He was funny.
Get the bus home.
Get the bus home, and that's the thing that made me laugh.
For my team, because that's old school. So,
brilliant, wasn't he? Brilliant. No, top man, Jarvis as well. Right, all right. Put Celez in. Yeah. Right, okay, so who's next then? Who's next in the team? Then you go for the teams you got them written down, man.
We go left back. He's aptly named Psycho. We've got to be Stuart Pierce. He's in there. No nonsense. His reputation alone gets him in there.
Yeah. So, and I think so it was that period, wasn't it? Where we had like you could get away with having like an old left back. Do you know what I mean? We had a few at the time. We had Piercy, then we had Nigel Winterburn, we had Chris Powell, we had Rufus Brevet. We had these sort of like older and so, I mean, Psycho. Yeah. And I mean, Psycho was Hammer of the Year, wasn't he? The year he played for the season. So they're top man, and obviously he's doing. And he's doing great stuff back at the club, in the setup now. So I don't think it's a coincidence that defensively we've improved a lot since he's come back on board.
No, I just think no one's bollocking off him, did I? So.
No, not at all. But bless him. Right, okay, we'll put Psycho in the second. I mean, right, who's next, man?
Right, so I've got 2 centre backs. The first one to the left, also my captain, is Julian Dix. I know he don't play centre back; he's a left back. But Pierce and Dix, I couldn't leave either of them out for this particular team of hard nuts. I couldn't leave either of them out. So Dix is going to have to go centre back. So then catching.
But also, I know he was hard nut, but he had and Piercy, they both had these wands of left feet, didn't they? It's like
Oh,
incredible.
Yeah, good player as well.
Yeah, they could both play, and that's the thing. I think outside of West Ham, I think Julian Dix isn't seen as a footballer, really, is he? But inside West Ham, we knew how good he was. He was an incredible player, an absolute fan. I've been watching. Exactly, I've been watching loads of like the season reviews that Robert Banks puts on YouTube, and they get taken down. Oh, love them. Like the new Netflix, it's brilliant. And there was one where we played Man United, and Dix used to always do this little thing where he was running like in front of the player to the byline, and he always used to toe end it over their head. And so he did it to Cantona.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and Cantona just stops and just goes, "That's enough for me. That's enough for me." It's like the player is. But all right, we'll put Julian in. God bless him. God bless him. At least he's got some time now to spend with his little kid now. So
yeah.
Unless he's going to Beijing with Slav, who knows? You know, I mean, Slav's going.
It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah.
Crazy. Oh dear. Beijing, was that the one that Rafa Benitez was at?
I think it rings a bell. I'm not sure.
Or Pellegrini, one of them was that. That'd be fun if it's Pellegrini again. God, could you imagine it? God, just move on, Slav. You know,
give it a rest.
Oh, bless him. Right, okay, we'll put Julian at centre back. Then we'll put him on the left, the centre backs.
Yeah.
Right, who's the next one, mate?
This is Razor had to be. Do you know what I mean? Like as characters. Like, I don't know how long this team probably wouldn't be able to play in this day and age because they'd all be sent off but
VAR.
VAR. Razor wouldn't get out onto start the game once he's in the tunnel. Yeah.
What can you say about Razor? I mean,
no, the one he did was quality, wasn't it? You know, what I mean?
That was it was the most, and it was like I don't know why I left it sort of running. I left the video running, but it was the best thing and the worst thing I could ever do.
Yeah, definitely. Like
Razor on his own with his own device is scarier than Razor. Yeah, but no, he's a lovely guy. He's a lovely, and it's funny. The other day he did something. He put something on Twitter, and I messaged him back to say, "Oh, yeah, and by the way, Rays, the dishwasher's still working, still good."
Oh, yeah.
And he's like sent me a DM saying, "Oh, it really pissed me. That was so funny, man. That was so funny." But yeah, it's top bloke. Good book as well.
Definitely.
His books.
Yeah,
he's very good. So we put Ruddock in right back. Then he's gonna be right back.
Well, just when you think it couldn't get any crazier, we got Thomas Repka right back.
Oh, I love Thomas Repka. I think I was just going to put him in straight away for this team.
Yeah.
Oh, Repka. But I think they all are. But I think particularly Repka, he's a hard man, but I think he's got a soft heart. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially for West Ham.
Yeah, definitely.
And you talk about commitment, and obviously sometimes he might be a bit overcommitted. But you talk about blood, sweat, and tears for the badge, no nonsense, and to go in that team.
We had some funny stories about reps. We had Neil tells a story the other day about when I was interviewing the other day about Repka, and they had at Chadwell Heath they had these car cleaners would come in twice a week to like valet the cars.
Yeah,
good business actually. Yeah, and one of them backed Repka's Ferrari into the training, like the indoor thing, and did the whole back. And this kid was literally crying. He was literally crying, and obviously you can imagine Repka, and everyone's trying to calm him down because he's
no cameras as well.
No cameras, exactly. God, yeah. Could you imagine? He's a scare. You know, he still scares me on Instagram. Do you know what I mean? I know he's like his pictures and like if he's coming on the show eventually, but when we sort of text each other on Instagram, even when he DMs me back, I get nervous because it's like I know he's in Prague or wherever, and like how many thousands of miles away, but it's still like, you know, he put a thumbs up the other day, and I thought it was like fucking thumbs up, you know, not just a thumbs up, Thomas Repka thumbs up. Oh my God, it's gonna really scare me. But yeah, and he's and reps, West Ham notoriety happened more after he retired, wasn't he? Because he was in prison.
Yeah, they could film about him, I reckon.
Oh yeah, I reckon there's. Yeah, I reckon that'd be some interesting. It'll be an interesting conversation when we get him on the show eventually. It'd be very funny, but actually, I don't think I'll be scared. It'll be such a boring interview. I'll be talking so Thomas, tell me about West Ham. I won't tell him. Ask him anything about, blackmailing his ex-girlfriend with sex pictures. I won't talk to him about what was the other thing. I think he allegedly he hired cars and then sold them as his own.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just talk about his West Ham days anyway. Yeah, right. Go on then. Let's go into midfield, man. Who's in midfield?
Well, while we're on the subject of Repka, I go on the right wing in front of him, and that's Marco Boogers. I think that.
Marco Boogers.
I remember seeing him kick a ball, but I remember him seeing kick Gary Neville, so that's enough for me. Him and Repka down that wing, I don't see anyone messing with them. Yeah.
Could you imagine like a poor, I don't know, like Matty Etherington type character on the left wing against them?
5 minutes,
Oh, Marco. See, it's the second time Marco's been picked in my Hammers. Yeah. The first time was by James Jones at We Are West Ham, because he's probably the only one who has. He has a Marco Boogers shirt, like the shirt he played in. It was like with the collars with Boogers 14 on the back.
Really?
No one else has got that, because he bought it. He was literally bought the shirt as he signed, and his dad said this guy's going to be good, and so he thought we'd get it on there as investment.
Okay, pretty cool shirt now though, because no one else has got it.
Exactly. And Marco Boogers, fun fact, used to, when he was at West Ham for the short amount of time, pre-season, would room with Martin Allen.
Really?
That makes sense. That makes sense, doesn't it? That makes sense.
They put them together. Yeah.
Harry Redknapp. There we go.
Oh yeah.
You thought you'd put him against someone like calming, like a Kevin Keane or, Martin Allen.
Not enable him.
Yeah, exactly. Enabling him, exactly. Yeah, you're enabling him with the Mad Dog. Right, okay, Boogers is in. Who's next then? I'm loving this team. Who's next, man?
Well, it's Mad Dog. Funnily enough, he's in the middle, so he rooms with him. He can play next to him.
Oh, it makes perfect sense. Let me find him. Oh, yeah, Mad Dog. Love him. I love him.
I'll tell you a quick story, actually. This is a true story. Went to Martin Allen Soccer School. I was about 10, maybe a bit younger, 9 or 10. And it's like Monday to Friday. I think it was 2 weeks. Colin Foster was there. Dix was there. And one day we was doing this thing like the kids. There's like hundreds of kids, so you didn't really see the pros much. We're doing like 1-2s and finishing, yeah. And Martin Allen's come by, and he's like, and I happen to be doing it, and he's like, "Oh no, this is how you do it, boys." And he did a 1-2. Me and him were both. I'm 10 years old, yeah. He's in his prime. We're going for a 50-50. He barged me out of the way, literally like I'm his arch enemy, yeah. And I've gone flying on the floor, and he's just smashed it past the goalkeeper, like 100 miles an hour. Turned around, that's how you do it, boys. And at first, I thought, like what's your problem? But then I thought, actually, I've just been barged by Mad Dog. Like that's a good story to tell my mate. So. Yeah,
that's brilliant, man. That's like that Boris Johnson. Do you remember that when he was in Japan and he was playing like tag rugby, and he literally he smashed this little kid over without realising he did it. And he was like only about like that. Yeah, no, he's brilliant. I love Mad Dog. We've had him on the show a few times. He's good value. We had him on a game show a few weeks ago. Who was it with Tim Breaker and Steve Jones. Oh, it was hilarious because Mad Dog phones me up 5 minutes before. He goes, "Russ, what's going on for this cat?" So I told him what it was all about. He went, "Right, okay. Last question, Mr. Budden. Can I be silly?" And I went, "Yes."
Yeah.
And I wish I would. Yeah, it was just like being so like, hello, I can't hear you. Sorry, can't hear him. Can't hear what he's like, all that type of thing. We had him on the pitch. We had him on the pitch once. I remember we were playing. It was Upton Park. We haven't had him on the pitch since because of this. At half time, and we was playing. I can't remember who we were playing, but Thomas Hitzelsberger had scored one of his, Der Hammer shots. in the first half. And it was when Jeremy was doing the announcing. I think Mad Dog had enjoyed the entertainment, shall we just say, the beverages are being provided. And so we're at half time interviewing him. So Martin, what do you think about the game? So far, Thomas Hitzelsberger, fans' favourite. Great goal from him. And he took the mic off Jez and went, "Yeah, it's quite funny because like the last time a German came into East London, he bombed the place."
That's crazy, isn't it?
Okay, thanks, Martin. Thank you, Martin Allen. It's like, oh, so yeah, he hasn't. That's why
he's in my team.
Yeah, it's brilliant, so funny. And when we did him for his 11, he was like afterwards. He said, "I've got a joke. I've got a couple of jokes for us." So asked me what I've been doing, and he basically put his hands in dirt before he started, and he said, "I've been doing the gardening or something like that." And he's eating a biscuit all the way through, and it was a fucking dog biscuit he was eating all the way through, and he was like, "Oh." Just like, but I think some people play to that. I think Mad Dog plays to the fact that he's this sort of Mad Dog person, and we just let him do it. But anyway, we'll put Martin Allen in. God bless him. And funny about Martin Allen, his car share buddy, when he was at the club, was Kevin Keane.
Oh, really?
And that's better. That's better. You pair up like a crazy one.
Yeah. It's a bit more yin yang, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I said to Kev, I went, "How did you spend like 8 years driving Martin around?" He said, "I do not know. I do not. We're still really good mates. I don't know why we're good friends. We're so like poles apart with them." But love Mad Dog. Right, okay. Who's next now, man?
Right, I did make a slight change to my original team. So I was 11, but I did make a change, and he wasn't in it originally. But a good friend of mine, my mate Fraser, he said, "You got to have John Moncur in there." And I thought, well, this is my 11, so I'm not going to just jump straight into it. Then my brother, one of my brothers, his name's Josh. He's one of his favourite players growing up was John Moncur. So I thought, right, these two, like my mate Fraser, my brother Josh, they can be my like Nevin and Irvine. And I thought I'll let them take into consideration. And I thought, how is Moncur not in it? If this team is about character, how did he not get in there to begin with? So yeah, he's going to go in there, Moncur next to Mad Dog. Okay. I mean, I don't know how many characters you can get. I think everyone in his team would want to be captain. They'd probably all like argue over it. I mean, and there's enough argument. But I've got to be the captain. But Moncur, it's a crime that I didn't have him in the original 11.
And that's the thing, and that's the great thing, because people talk to people about, we're kind of Hammond's 11, we're doing, and they go, well, basically, God, I can't believe I forgot John Moncur. It's like, he's, and again, we've had him on, and
I saw it.
Because he was like there was two. There's Pete Butler. Pete Butler was like, I loved him because he was the first player I ever met, but Monks was like, I loved him, and it was so funny interviewing him because he was so like, he started off so like normal and placid. Because he doesn't do any of the crazy stuff now. He's he plays a lot of golf, and I think he's found God obviously as well. So he's calm down. Yeah. But then you start talking to him about the old days, and you saw his little glint in the corner of his eye, and he's like, "Oh, I tell you this other time when I was naked," and it was literally like a little boy. It was all these stories are coming out. That was great. Love him. I love Monks.
I put him in there. My brother and my dad went and see him at the West Ham Way pre-match event, whenever it was. Yeah. They said he was because he's exactly how you imagined him to be, and I was like, how can I not put him in? I'm not the type to listen to people. I have my own 11. I'm not going to listen to anyone, but I thought that's one I've got to change.
That's someone I would definitely have nailed on this Hammond 11 anyway. So he's brilliant. Love him, and he was a fantastic player. And Martin Allen was a great player as well. Not only were they nutters, but they were good players as well. They were skillful. Monks, Monks was banging on the door for England, really. Particularly when Glenn Cotter had gone to England job. So obviously he took him because he wanted him when he went to Chelsea, and it was Chelsea or West Ham, and he went to West Ham. Right, okay, Monks is in. Who's next, man?
It's Steve Lomas down the left. I know he's not an out winger, but again, how can I leave him out? And he can
play narrow. It's okay.
He plays there for us, didn't he? Played a different position.
Where's Lomas? I'll find him.
I can't leave him out, especially after Razor spilled the beans on the story.
Yeah, I'm trying to get Lomi on to
Allegedly. So yeah, he's going in there 100%.
I want Lomi. Yeah, I want to get Lomi on to deny or confirm those rumours. I don't think he can actually confirm them because he'd be up in court, wouldn't he? But but no, and he was a great. I mean, again, you know, all these guys, you know, with the exception of maybe Boogers, all these guys. You know, I mean, even Les was like such a committed West Ham fan as well. But all these guys would put a shift in. All these guys were good players. All these guys would put in 100%. You know, you wouldn't question their commitment. And he just said sometimes maybe overzealous, sometimes a bit too committed. Yeah, that changed it. Could you imagine if they came in and they were losing to like Barnsley or something at half time? And God dear. We would not want to give the ball away, which calls the goal in that team, that's for sure. But right, okay, strikers then. Who are we going to have then, Ell?
Well, I was thinking about it, and obviously there's loads, but obviously you can only have two. And the first one that stood out was John Hartston, just for like giving defenders ag and being like pushing defenders about basically. And but again, this is like common thing that's coming up. I'm talking about like tough and hard players, but again, gifted. Like good on the ball, better than what people remember, I think, even. Definitely. And especially in the first game, the amount of goals he scored, and he went straight into this team. Like, no
we did like a John Hartson appreciation night a few weeks ago, and Martin, who's the announcer, they put together this brilliant like montage of his goals. I'll tell you what, but it wasn't just like. You know, I for some reason I had this sort of like memory in my head that Hartson would score a lot of headed goals, and it weren't. It were a lot of like, all over the place. Such a good player. Obviously, the role of Berkovic on him as well. You know, just putting these little dink balls through, and it was brilliant when he was on it. You know, that season when he got like 26, 20, 25 goals, something like that, 24, 25. It was unstoppable.
He's only young as well, wasn't he? Like in the 20s. And like as far as like defending from the front, like he would let the defenders know. Would you know what I mean? And like something we could do with now, really. Well, without Antonio playing, something we could do with now. You know, just
it's true. It's true. And I think with John as well. I mean, you know, we've had him on the channel as well, and when he was. We was talking about, you know, coming to West Ham and stuff, and he was like, well, you know, it was a big price tag, and, you know, you're coming in and, you know, he goes, yeah, but Russ, honestly, everywhere I've gone, I've had some price tag, you know. When I went to Arsenal, I was the world's most expensive teenager. I was West Ham's top set signing. I went to Wimbledon, I was Wimbledon's top signing. You know, there was always this mantle on me, and it was a pressure, and I was like, you know what, I can totally get that. He was still a young lad, really, in relative terms as well. So no, he was great man, and his arms are like, honestly, he did the crossed hammers afterwards, and look at the picture on YouTube. His arms are like that big; they're like mass, like muscle. He's you know, he's really, you know, he's a top bloke as well. He's a top guy. Right, Johnny Hartson, who's he going to partner then, Ell?
Well, this is just, I made a second change to my original 11, and because what it was, and it was almost a cameo as well, because I mean characters, but I thought of someone maybe that's not been mentioned so much, or definitely not mentioned so much, and it's Ian Wright. And the reason is, the other night I was watching just something on YouTube, and it came up 98-99 season when he played, and he didn't play much, but when he did play, like. I just forgot because it's been so long. The amount of like the goals he scored, and also the way he puts himself about. And like by then, I think he's like 34. But I think Harry says like he had the body and the enthusiasm of a 22-year-old. And when I'm watching it, he's murder for the opposition, absolute pain up the arse. So I thought, he's got to go in.
No, I like that. I remember he was always. I remember also he was like. He would always get man of the match, and he might have only come on for 15 minutes. He'd always get man of the match because obviously, if you sponsor the man of the match, you get to meet the player after the game. And there was sometimes where he literally just crossed the line, man of the match. You're right. It's like, what the hell? Oh, because they want to meet him afterwards. But no, personality wise, I mean, him and Razor, the famous like DiCanio pushover, and then obviously
don't get that no more, that sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like fun, and the characters.
I mean, you don't even get like fun. I mean, even like, I mean, Antonio for that period where he brought like celebrations back, like old school celebrations, not silly handshakes, you know, like slappy things like Son and Ali do, but you know, like proper like Homer Simpson things and you know, worms and stuff like that, and Gangnam Style. But you know, no one does those celebrations anymore. They said they're probably. I was watching another one of Robert Banks's things. It was the 2000 and I think 2002, 2003. So it was a season we went down. So it's 0203 we went down, and it might. And it was Freddie Picky on, and we was away to Everton, and he'd scored the goal which took us to 2-1 up with about 5 minutes to go, and he runs into the crowd celebrating. He was already on a yellow card, so he then gets sent off for a second yellow card for celebrating. And it's like, oh, come on!
Yeah, I don't even remember that.
And then we drew 2-2.
It's about right. Yeah.
Such a West Ham thing. I love it. Even things like that, even like old school, it's still West Ham. Nothing changes. That's what I love about us. But
no. Someone the other day when we play Stockport, like they're waiting for Haller to score like an Ian Dowie and go knock us out.
As I said before, I've got this vision of Ian Dowie just like sitting back, relaxing, watching the FA Cup draw, just like having a beer.
Mind his own business.
Yeah, and it's Stockport County. Oh, I wonder who Stockport County. West Ham. What? I've just let it all die down again. Do you know what I mean? And now it's all like, yeah. I wonder how many times that's going to be played in the next week. Do you know what I mean? That goal.
They put it on TV as well. Hoping we slip up. It's on the Monday, isn't it? The 16th.
Yeah, I mean that's why they pick it.
But we're past that now, but I mean, didn't like. Hopefully,
I think also. I mean, I was talking to some people the other day about it, and you know, the way the FA Cup, the way the FA have spoken about the FA Cup as well, and particularly with COVID and stuff. You know, you have to play, and if you can't get a team together, you're going to be like, you know, the other team has a bye, a bit like Orient did with Tottenham later on last season. So the Carabao Cup rather. And I think obviously that's going to favour the Premier League clubs even more in it because they've been testing twice a week for months now. Whereas someone like Stockport, for example, they get, you know, if they did, I mean, the FA are paying for all their tests at the moment for everyone in the third round, which I totally agree with. I think that's totally just. And I think there'll be a few surprises and there'll be a few. It's going to be a bit weird. I think this next in the third round, I think there'll be a few dropouts and buys and things like that. But you know. We'll see what happens. But no, I don't. Yeah, that's old West Ham, isn't it?
Yeah,
losing to Stockport or Wrexham away. God, when Hugo Porfirio first time he saw snow and the orange ball, and I love all that stuff. It's been good. Oh man, it's been lovely chatting to you, man. I really, really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us on. Appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure. And obviously, thanks to everyone else. It's been good fun, and thank you to everyone else who's been watching, whether it's on YouTube or Spotify or whatever. Give it a share, give it a like, and from myself and from Elle, take care, everyone. Stay safe, wash those hands, come on you irons, and we'll see you again very, very soon. There we go. Take care, everyone. Much love. Bye bye.